Welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Bill Hemmer for MediaBistro.com's Media Beat. Bill's an anchor on America's Newsroom for Fox News. And Bill, you recently got back from a trip to one of the biggest stories of the year, if not what will be the biggest story of the year, the earthquake in Haiti. What was the most memorable moment for you being down there?
Wow, everything's indelible to the point where I would find myself closing my eyes at nighttime at the end of another long day, and the images, as searing as they were, would come flooding back into your brain. And I'd open my eyes immediately and say to myself, don't go there. I know those are dark places. It would literally get under your skin. And I think more so than any story since September 11th, it was the one story that haunted me the most. And usually I can shake it off after 48 hours, but this was not the case. And honestly, it wasn't the dead that you had to deal with, and that goes for everybody who was with me, our whole crew. It was the living that haunt you. It was the people who were walking around the sidewalk 6 days later looking for a doctor to fix a bone. It was a woman in the back of a pickup truck who had a giant gash in her leg, bone exposed, 7 days after the earthquake. Could not find a doctor to stitch her up. And when she finally did, there's no anesthesia, there's no modern medical equipment. And I mean, that's tough stuff. It is so raw. And those, that mosaic of human drama, I think, is something that played back in my mind and in all likelihood played back in the minds of everybody else.
One of the things that comes out from a lot of the journalists who are down there is sort of the chaos that follows a disaster like that. How do you find the stories? What is the process like finding those stories in that type of an environment?
In this case, you could literally, Kevin, you could take 3 steps down a sidewalk, or 3 steps down the road, or turn the corner here, or turn there, and you found another story. And one was just as heartbreaking as the one before, and the next one was going to be just as heartbreaking as the one you're in now. I tell you, there was one day that we started our day in a park at 6 o'clock in the morning, no electricity, no nothing. And that's where we started our day, and off we went to the airport to see about how the Air Force was doing. And then we went to a hotel where they amputated 2 legs on an American man who was 60 years old and pulled him out from a French team that was trapped inside of this hotel. We tried to get back to that park at the end of our day at nightfall at 6 o'clock because we wanted to do this 12-hour piece where we could say what we did over a 12-hour period. It's getting dark, radiator blows on the car, we're 2 miles from home, no electricity, nothing around us, only our own desperation to figure out how we're going to finish our day and get home. And 50 feet up the road, it was the first time all day there was a gas station that was open. Generator power, lights on. The guy had been in the neighborhood all of his life, and he had a commitment to make sure that he was still serving the people of his neighborhood. He was selling rice and bread and water and gasoline. And it was the first time all day that we found somebody who was giving something back to the Haitian people. So we fired up our camera, set up our satellite image, and that's how we told our story of our day.
Are there a lot of technical challenges to trying to report, and especially TV with the equipment involved in trying to shoot down there?
Enormously. Somebody said it was like going to the moon. You had to bring everything, and that was so true. But still, the technology we brought with us, you had a country that had no power, but we could still broadcast. And what an amazing thing. And technology today allows us to do that. So we can fly into a place like Haiti with 3 black satchels, set up a satellite image, and tell the world what we're seeing that day.
Were there any kind of security concerns while you were down there?
There were. I will say I think personally they were overplayed in a lot of quarters. I don't think we did, frankly. 95% of the people were enormously patient given their condition.
Were there any particular reporting lessons that you learned going through that kind of an experience?
I thought we were pretty good about not exploiting the tragedy, but at the same time doing justice to the sacrifice that these people were forced into. And I think as long as we stay true to that value, I think that's a lesson that we can all take with us into every story we do.
All right, thanks. That's the end of this segment of our interview with Bill Hemmer. Stay tuned for the next section where we're going to talk about some of the changes that are happening in the TV news industry.